Welcome to the Week 9 recap. This week, we're pleased to announce that we're sponsored by Great Value Regular Rippled Potato Chips. And with each view of this video, Great Value will donate one chip toward the Stick and Puck watch party. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, number one matchup. It was Skill Stick Fail versus Doketown Danglers. Doketown received goalie excellence. Hellebuck and Hart record 33.8 fantasy points in total, while Huberdeau continues to struggle. Vasilevsky, on the other hand, after a poor performance, an historically poor performance last week, bounces back with 22 fantasy points, the best goalie in this matchup, and that's saying a lot. JT Miller continues to do well, dominant even, and the problem is that Skillstick didn't have much going after Vasilevsky and JT Miller. So Doketown Danglers gets the win, 118.4 to 100. And they go to 4-4-1. They even their record up to 500, while Skillstick is struggling. They're 2-7. If we look at how the matchup progressed throughout the week, it started off close. Skillstick actually got off to a pretty solid lead, but then it was on day 3, Danglers clawing back. And again, a little bit more on day 4. Quite even on day 5, but that final day was the coup de grace. They win it convincingly at the end. Team MVP, Carter Hart. Next up, Staying Alive versus Going Up in Flames. Finally, after 9 weeks, a win from Staying Alive. But the slideshow maker asks, is it deserved? Staying Alive's points total do not put them above any other team this week. So fortunate to go up against Going Up in Flames, which had an historically low total. 64.7. That might be, we'd have to look at the archives, but that might be the lowest total yet this year. But still, a win is a win, and Staying Alive gets the win. Charlie Lindgren, mid-November pickup. Look at him here. He looks like someone straight from the 1920s. He records the only double-digit fantasy point performance for this group. Does that mean the 2 teams, or does that mean Staying Alive's group? We're not sure. Anyway, Zach Hyman, another strong week. Wait a second. Let's go back. Misclick. 9.1 fantasy points for Hyman. The Oilers stock is rising. The top players are now putting up points, which has changed the fantasy landscape a bit in the last couple of weeks. Goof really hurt by an awful set of performances by Ottinger. Goof would have won by 10 plus points without the goaltending. So we take a look at the graph. Staying Alive, getting those 2 names mixed up. Staying Alive got off to a strong start, but then Going Up in Flames pretty much gets it all back. But then look at day 2. It was a massacre on that day. Staying Alive gets off to a huge lead. But the next day, Going Up in Flames gets a little bit. And there is that day 4, not many points, but look at day 5. This is where Staying Alive really won the week with that huge performance, over 30 points to only about 9. Going Up in Flames tried to make it close on day 6, but came up quite a bit short. About 18 points was the deficit. So again, let's congratulate Staying Alive with their first win of the season. Our next matchup is Los Mustachios versus How Is This Happening? A great performance from Hurdle the Turtle. 5 goals and 1 assist. a hat trick. It says in Long Island. I would say on Long Island. But anyway, lots of huge 10-plus fantasy point performances. And this is notable since Los Mustachios really struggled last week against Lenny's Legends. But here they come back and record 131.9 points. They were the winners over How Is This Happening, which gets their second loss of the season. It was 131.9 to 121.9, 10-point difference, and Los Mustachios goes to 5-4. It says crushing loss. I'm not sure about how crushing it was, but I guess in the sense that 121 is usually enough points to win a matchup, but not this week for How Is This Happening. Maybe they were the beneficiary of some good luck lately, so it comes back to bite them. The hockey gods thought it was time for How Is This Happening to get a little bad luck this week. Kucherov not slowing down. However, I did notice that Connor, and that's Kyle Connor, and Dylan Larkin are both injured, so that will come into play. Looking at the graph for the week, Los Mustachios got off to a solid lead, continued with that, again, slightly on day 2. How Is This Happening? Came back some on day 3. Not much happened on day 4. Los Mustachios, though, the final 2 days were a little better than How Is This Happening? So with the help of Team MVP and a few others, Hurdle with 15.4 points, they win the matchup, going, as I said, to 5-4. All right, who's up next? Slay All Day versus Egg United. This was a close one. In the end, it was Slay All Day with the 99.5 to 99.0 victory. Only 0.5 points separated the two clubs. A photo finish. Actually, I didn't read the slide. That's what it says. They took the words out of my mouth. One block shot from Ferraro in the overtime would have tied things up. What if? You could say that about many things, but in the end, just didn't get it done. Slay wins despite perhaps some peculiar roster decisions. Vanacek over Gustafsson. I believe he had a shutout on Sunday evening, which would have made things a little less nail-biting for the Slay. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins rides the Pines. I don't know. The power play, and he's on McDavid's line with Zach Hyman. They're putting up all sorts of points. I don't like to give out advice to my opponents, but that seems like a poor decision. But anyway, moving on. Saros could be this match's MVP if you were inclined to go in that direction. But in the end, we'll give it to Sam Reinhart. 10.7 fantasy points. Not that impressive, but solid. Shades of 2003 J.S. Giguere. I believe that's in reference to his Conn Smythe Trophy win in a losing effort. Who was that against? Devils? I don't know. We'll have to look that up. But anyway, looking at how the week went along, it was pretty close. Day 1, day 2. Slay went a little bit ahead on day 3. But then Egg United, I don't know if that put them in the lead. It might have. But then the very next day, Slay All Day, I guess if we looked at this one, we'd be able to tell. Yes, Egg United did get in the lead on day 3, but Slay takes it back, and they're in the driver's seat. Although on day 6, as we saw, it was very close in the end, and Egg United almost pulled out the victory, but just came up a bit short. All right, so Slay All Day goes to 5-3-1, while Egg United drops to 4-5, under 500. And I believe this is the 5th and final matchup, Team 1 versus Lenny's Legends. Some couple of Panthers continue to remain hot for Team 1. Barkov and is it for Hagee? They record a combined 21.2 fantasy points. Ingram had a strong shutout start. I believe that was day 1. Didn't finish the week as well, but got Team 1 off to a very strong start. Matt Boldy finally steps up. Lenny's Legends continues to have faith in Boldy, and that faith was rewarded this week as well as I think last week. 12.2. I think that's more than respectable. That's 12.2 is a very good total for the week. Uncharacteristically bad goaltending sinks LGD. Igor Shesterkin had a bad week. The duo of Thatcher and Shesterkin get a combined negative 11.6 fantasy points. So sometimes in this league, actually, we saw it already in another matchup. You can live by your goalies or die by your goalies. And this week, the Legends, they died by their goalies. But in fairness, in other weeks, they probably lived by their goalies. So sometimes they help, sometimes they really sink a good effort. And the Legends had a lot of good efforts from a lot of their players, but in the end, Barkov was the MVP, 14.5 points. Let's look at the graph. As I said, Team 1 really got off to a huge start, and it looked like that was an insurmountable lead. In the sense it was, but in another sense, a lot of things, if they just happened to slightly differently, could have allowed Lenny's Legends to pull out the victory. But you see, day 2, things were even. And then there was that huge day 3 for Lenny's Legends, where they were almost even with Team 1, which seemed very unlikely after days 1 and 2. But then day 4, Team 1 had a few more points as well as day 5. Day 5 was extremely disappointing for Lenny's Legends, and it seemed like this was a common refrain throughout the league, where so many players were playing on Saturday and very few points were earned by players. It got off to a good start for Lenny's Legends with Ingram posting a negative score. Looked good, looked all set up for the victory, but didn't work out that way. Day 6 was pretty much even, so that great start by Team 1 really was what cemented the victory. So Team 1 wins 114 to 100.9. They go to 7-2, and Lenny's Legends also are 7-2, as well as How Is This Happening is 7-2. We'll let you figure out all the tiebreakers, but in the East, Team 1 and How Is This Happening are atop their division, 7-2, and Lenny's Legends is atop the West at 7-2. So those were the matchups for the week. If we want to look at the league-wide points, the colors keep changing. It's getting very confusing, but at the bottom we still see Skill Stick Fail and Staying Alive. Staying Alive is actually at the bottom. Then we have Going Up in Flames, third. Then Slay All Day, I believe it is. Then we have the Mustachios, and then one of Team Egg United and How Is This Happening in blue. Above them a little bit is Doketown Danglers. Then we have the Rising Club, Team 1, and still atop this list, if it means anything, is Lenny's Legends. Get out your magnifying glass. We're told that this is Emmett McLeod. We cannot confirm this, but we will be seeing him over the holidays, and we will ask him if he took part in a photo shoot for whichever stock photo site this little picture comes from. All right. That's the President's Trophy race. Marquee matchups. There's not a lot of great matchups this coming week, except for one, and it's the obvious one. Team 1 versus How Is This Happening? We already said both clubs are 7-2. They sit atop the East Division. Who will win this one? That will perhaps determine, and to be honest, I haven't even looked at how the playoff brackets work. Will there be 4 teams that qualify? Will there be more? I don't even know. But this is an important game or matchup to determine who will be in the top spot in the East Division. Perhaps we could say that the Danglers and the Legends, we saw that they were near the top of the, Legends were the top, Danglers were the third team in total points for. So you could say that this is another marquee matchup. Maybe we'll go with this one as the third marquee matchup. We'll see if Staying Alive can start a streak of 2 victories in a row. While let's see if Los Mustachios can continue after the tough week 2 weeks ago to become one of the top teams in this league. So those are your 3 marquee matchups for the week. Next, Johnny's Picks. I don't know what this is saying, some sort of cryptic message here. But anyway, there's no money on the line for these picks. Egg United versus Going Up in Flames. We're going to have to go with Egg United. I know the Senators have 4 games. Can Ottinger bounce back? I don't know. But if we go with what we've seen so far this season, Egg United is my pick. Team 1 versus How Is This Happening? This is an interesting one. I mentioned the injuries. 2 of How Is This Happening's top players, Larkin and Connor, are both out this week. And I don't know if there was a change to the initial lineup tweak, but I saw Max Domi in the starting lineup. That does not bode well for How Is This Happening. I have to go with Team 1 in this matchup. Next, Danglers versus Legends. Legends have a lot of injuries as well. Hedman is out. Hamilton, Tuck. There's another one on the injured list as well, I believe. But we got Patrick Kane starting a full week this week. Legends have full confidence in those players. Next man up, they're confident, even though they have lots of injuries. McDavid is rolling. Shesterkin is going to bounce back. Josie, whatever his name is, he's going to continue to be perhaps the top defenseman in the last 3 weeks. And the Legends, though it's not going to be easy, I believe will pull out the victory. Staying Alive and Los Mustachios. Sadly, I'm going to have to say that the streak will end with 1, if you call 1 win a streak. And Los Mustachios will continue to have a strong performance as they did last week. And then finally, Skill Stick Fail versus Slay All Day. Skill has been struggling, only 2 wins. Slay had a strong performance. We're going to have to go with Slay All Day. We'll see if Timo Meier can finally get more than 1 point in a game. Probably unlikely. Never was impressed with him when he was with the Mooseheads. Obviously, he did better, or has done better than I thought he would in the NHL. But as far as fantasy hockey goes, he's been a dud this year. All right. Anything else? No. So remember, watch this video over and over again. Hopefully there were no phantom toilet flushes during the recording of this video. But watch this video. Tell all your friends. Share it so that Great Value will be donating many, many potato chips, regular rippled, to the Stick and Puck watch party, which will happen at a soon-to-be-announced, yet-to-be-determined time. So watch out for that. Watch the video. Tell your friends. Tell everyone so that we have all sorts of quantities of potato chips at that watch party. All right, I'm signing off. Good luck in week number 10.